Hi everyone, welcome back to another lecture that we are going to study today, that is on the chapter Federalism from the class 11th NCERT Indian Constitution at Work। तो हमारी क्लास 11th की जो NCERT है Indian Constitution at Work, उसका हम नेक्स्ट चैप्टर पढ़ रहे हैं जो कि है आपका थर्ड लास्ट चैप्टर नंबर 7, दैट इज फेडरलिज्म। तो आज हम फेडरलिज्म के बारे में डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे। यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट दिस टर्म फेडरलिज्म अ लॉट इन द न्यूज़पेपर, राइट? ऑल्सो ड्यूरिंग योर पॉलिटी सेशंस, जब आप पॉलिटी के लेक्चर्स लेते हो या पॉलिटी पढ़ते हो तो आपने फेडरलिज्म के बारे में पढ़ा ही होगा। आज हम इसको डिटेल में पढ़ने जा रहे हैं फ्रॉम द वेरी स्क्रैच। नाउ व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट फेडरलिज्म, what is a federal government? See this map, this was India in 1947. Now this is India today. You can see here there were so many states. Pakistan was also a part of India back in 1946, 1945. तो 1946 तक तो पाकिस्तान भी आप यहाँ देखोगे मैप में था। इतने सारे प्रिंसली स्टेट्स थे, प्रोविंसेस थे, आप देख सकते हो, right? This is the current map. So why this huge change in the map of India? And if there are so many states, how they are together united since so many years, इतने decades हो गए कि इतने सारे states अब united कैसे हैं? Everything comes down to this word called federalism. So the first question anybody can ask you is, what is a federal government? पहला question कोई आपसे पूछेगा वो क्या होगा कि भाई federal government क्या होती है? So very basic and simple answer to this question is, a federal government is one in which the powers are divided between the national government, that is your central government, and between the regional governments, that is your state governments, municipalities, panchayat, etc. फेडरल गवर्नमेंट एक ऐसी गवर्नमेंट होती है जहां पर जो ताकत है, पावर है, वो एक के पास सीमित नहीं है, वो डिवाइडेड है, ठीक है? एंड इट इज डिवाइडेड बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इटसेल्फ। तो इसमें मेजर रोल हैज टू बी प्लेड बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। मेजर रोल किसका होता है यहाँ पर? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का होता है। एंड देयर आर सर्टेन स्पेसिफिक फीचर्स ऑफ फेडरलिज्म दैट वी विल स्टडी टुडे। Those specific very major features of federalism are, first is, write it down, the dual government. We have the government at the central level, central government, then we have the government at the state levels, okay, state governments. So here first is dual government. Second, we have a written constitution. We do not have an oral constitution. हमारे पास सब कुछ बकायदा लिखा हुआ है. We go by the book, okay. Then there are division of powers. Power is divided, ठीक है, between the regional governments and the local and the central government or the national government. It is divided between the two levels of government. Then here constitution is supreme. हमारा जो संविधान है वो सबसे ऊपर है. It is the highest law. It is supreme. Constitution is considered as supreme in a federal government, in a federal nation or federal democracy. And we have an independent judiciary. हमारी जो जुडिशरी है वो यहाँ पर इंडिपेंडेंट है. नोबडी कैन इंटरफेयर. वी स्टडीड दिस इन दी जुडिशरी चैप्टर. हमने जुडिशरी चैप्टर में पढ़ा था ना, जुडिशरी इज इंडिपेंडेंट. नोबडी कैन इंटरफेयर इन द वर्किंग ऑफ द जुडिशरी. There is a separation of power concept that we study. That is one of the features of the federal government. These are the major features of the federal government that we are going to study in today's lecture. Okay, let's get started. शुरू करते हैं. I hope you all are ready. Now before we move ahead, here is a very small and quick announcement for all of you. Unacademy launches Unacademy Combat every Sunday at 11 AM in the morning. हर संडे 11 बजे सुबह Unacademy ना ये UPSC CSE का कॉम्बैट यानी कि ऑल इंडिया फ्री स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट कंडक्ट करता है. इट इज काइंड ऑफ अ मॉक प्रीलिम्स टेस्ट दैट एवरी संडे you can give for 1 hour. 50 questions are there from all these topics of the syllabus. Okay, so basically through this test you can understand what kind of questions UPSC frames. Through this test you can understand what are your strengths and weaknesses. आपका strength area कौन सा है, weakness का area कौन सा है. You can also get to know your own foundations. आपको पता चल जाएगा आपके foundations कितने strong है जब आप तैयारी करने बैठते हो. Plus if you are preparing for 2023 का attempt, then you should give this mock test. It is free of cost. ये तो बिल्कुल free है, ठीक है, इसमें आपको कुछ पेमेंट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. एंड यू ऑल्सो स्टैंड अ चांस टू विन स्कॉलरशिप्स. अगर आपकी रैंक्स आती है तो यहाँ पर आपको स्कॉलरशिप्स भी मिलती है फ्रॉम अ पूल ऑफ ₹4 crore. Plus you know that in prelims 2022 का UPSC का एग्जाम 30% of the questions came almost directly from the combat. They had similarity from the combat. So please make sure that you know give this combat tomorrow at 11 a.m. It's a live test, ये live test होता है, तो here you can test your speed also, आपको आपकी speed भी यहाँ पर test करने को मिलती है. You can enroll for free using code अर्पिता10. ये कोड यूज करके ना फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट इस कॉम्बैट में एनरोल कर सकते हो. टॉप 3 रैंकर्स तो यूपीएससी के नोट्स भी उनको मिलेंगे अनअकैडमी की तरफ से, एंड आपको ना सबका वीडियो सोल्यूशन मिलेगा. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट द वीडियो सोल्यूशन, यू विल गेट द सोल्यूशंस ऑफ द कॉम्बैट एज वेल. The link is given below in the description box. Hurry up, enroll now. Let's get started. शुरू करते हैं. When we talk about federalism, the story goes back to USSR. You know that USSR was one of the world's superpower back then, but after 1989 we know that USSR started breaking up into different units, different countries, independent countries निकल कर आई USSR से 1989 के बाद. 1991 में तो complete breakdown हो ही गया था. So what was the major reason why USSR broke up? Because there was so much of centralization that the countries were now tired of it. इतनी centralization थी यूएसएसआर में कि भाई कंट्रीज अब थक गई थी, being dominated by one particular force. Another reason is that there was concentration of power in one particular unit, plus domination of Russia over other regions, other independent regions, for example Uzbekistan. All these were the reasons, the major forces why USSR was broke up into different parts. Now same thing was seen in India also, that in India we had partition. ये जो partition यहाँ देखने को मिला था वही इंडिया में भी देखने को मिला 1947 में. But even after partition there have been so many decades that India has still remained united. There were so many provinces in India, but उसके बाद भी इंडिया के सारे provinces united रहे. Why? The reason is the federal structure of our constitution. हमारे nation का, हमारी सोच का जो federal structure है उसने हम सबको एक करके रखा है. This federal structure was a reason behind why we are all united together. Now when we understand the nature of federalism, there was a very famous federal theorist called K.C. Ware. And he argued that nature of Indian constitution is quasi-federal in nature. Why quasi-federal? That here there are two kinds of governments. First is the national government, second is the state government. एक तो आपकी central government है जो BJP ruling party है, and then we have different state governments also, where in some states opposition party is also ruling, right? So this makes the nature of Indian constitution as a quasi-federal nation. And this was also held by the Supreme Court in the Satpal versus State of Punjab and ORS case in 1969. Supreme Court also said that Constitution of India is more quasi-federal than federal or unitary. सिर्फ federal या unitary नहीं बोल सकते. Indian Constitution is not only federal or not only unitary. It is completely quasi-federal. That you have to remember. So in short, we have studied that federalism is a system of government in which power is divided between a central authority and constituent political units. That is the basic definition of federalism. We are not talking about Indian federalism right now. मैं Indian federalism की यहाँ पर बात नहीं कर रही हूँ. In general, I am giving you an idea of what is federalism. It is a system of government where power division is present. Okay, where power is not only accumulated in the hands of one central authority. No, that is not federalism. Federalism means division of power. That is the basic general concept of federalism. Division of power between a central authority and constituent political units. That is basic federalism. And here, in India, the Constitution of India also adopts the federal structure to frame, the Indian government. Point clear हो गया? Because here in Indian, in the Indian Constitution says that what is India? India is a union of states. That is the foundation of the concept of federalism. When the Constitution is saying that India is a union of states, that means we are adopting division of power ka concept. We are adopting this concept. DOP, DOP, division of power. ओके तो हम इस कॉन्सेप्ट को अपने डेफिनेशन में ही एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं, इसीलिए यहाँ पर हम बोलते हैं दैट इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज अ फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर. सो इंडियन मॉडल ऑफ फेडरलिज्म इज नॉट अ यूनिटरी सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नमेंट और अ फेडरल सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. इट इज कॉल्ड द क्वासी फेडरल सिस्टम बिकॉज इट कंटेन्स both the federation and the union of states, because all the states, regional governments, local governments, they club together with the national government and form one particular nation. तो यहाँ पर फेडरेशन भी है और यहाँ पर यूनियन भी है, इसीलिए हमारा जो भारतीय संविधान है वो क्वासी फेडरल सिस्टम को अडॉप्ट करता है. पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया? नाउ यू अंडरस्टूड व्हाई इंडिया इज नोन एज क्वासी फेडरल सिस्टम, व्हाई इंडियन मॉडल ऑफ फेडरलिज्म इज कॉल्ड क्वासी फेडरल सिस्टम. So federalism has a set of fixed principles, okay, and these principles have not just been applied in the present modern society, but also has been applied in the historical societies. For example, when we look at the Mauryan administration, जब हम Mauryan administration की तरफ देखते हैं, federalism, we are seeing this concept of federalism since the time of the Mauryan administration. So let's understand the evolution of federalism. In India, between, you can write it down also, between 321 and 185 BC, in the place of Magad, the Mauryans for the first time assimilated different number of kingdoms and republics. It might be known as the first subcontinental state in Indian history as well. In the Indian history, right, we can say that जब मगध में Mauryan Empire का expansion हुआ था, they has accumulated and assimilated different kind of kingdoms and republics, and that was, you can say, the starting of the idea of federal government in India. Then we know there is a very famous act, Government of India Act of 1935. This act also aimed to establish India as a federation of states. You can mention this in your mains answer writing. आप अपने मेंस रिलेटेड आंसर राइटिंग में इसको मेंशन कर सकते हो. दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ फेडरलिज्म, that the Government of India Act 1935 aimed to establish India as a federation of states. Okay, so even the genesis of the present federal system in India, it lies in the Simon report. जो साइमन कमीशन की रिपोर्ट थी, वहां भी आप फेडरलिज्म का टर्म देखोगे. The Simon report of May 1930, it also supported the idea of a federal government in India. So you can mention that also when a question comes on federalism. In the introduction, you can mention these topics: the Magad Empire, Government of India Act, Simon report, etc. So federalism as a principle of government has evolved differently in different situations historically also. And America also follows a system of federalism, but American federalism is different from Indian federalism, because American federalism is one of the first major attempts to build a federal polity. It was the first attempt to build a federal polity or the federal government. Okay, but we study how American federalism is different from Indian federalism in the later slides. A quick announcement for all of you. Unacademy is bringing Doubt Darbar for UPSC aspirants for free, absolutely free. You can join the doubt solving sessions by Unacademy, where you can come and get all your doubts resolved by the expert educators absolutely free of cost. Any doubt that you are having regarding history, geography, economy, polity, international relations, current affairs, environment, science and technology, you can just join this Doubt Darbar session from Unacademy site on 2nd August, 3rd August and 5th August at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. and you can get all your doubts solved. You can enroll now, it's for free. You can scan this code and enroll. आप इस कोड को स्कैन करके फटाफट से enroll कर लीजिए. The links are also given in the description box. It's for free. So if you have any doubts, accumulate those doubts and get on the seat on Doubt Darbar for UPSC CSE aspirants and get your doubts solved for free. Now let us understand federalism from the very scratch. बहुत ही scratch से अब हम federalism को समझते हैं. ठीक है? So people, we have, or everybody, every individual has two sets of identities. ये तो हमें पता होता है ना, हर individual की दो तरीके की identities होती हैं. One is a regional identity from the state that you belong to, and another is a national identity from the country that you belong to. कुछ लोग महाराष्ट्रियन होते हैं, कुछ यूपी के होते हैं, कुछ बिहार के होते हैं, कुछ दिल्ली के होते हैं, दिल्लीइट्स बोलते हैं उनको. ठीक है, तो ये जो अलग अलग, कुछ कानपुर के होते हैं तो उनको कानपुरिया भी बोलते हैं. तो ये रीजनल आइडेंटिटीज हो गई. बट देन वी कॉल अस इंडियंस, collectively, that is our national identity. And that is why when the constitution framers were framing the constitution, they also thought, when the people have two types of identities, why can't we have a dual system of government? And that is why we have government, dual system of polity or dual system of government, one at the national level and another at the state level. Okay, this was the basic, mindset of the constitution framers. You have to understand really the mindset of the constitution framers to understand polity. आपने अगर constitution बनाने वालों का mindset समझ लिया ना, आप पूरी की पूरी polity समझ जाओगे. Now we know that in India we have independent judiciary. Why? So that if there is any conflict, any dispute, that can be solved. Disputes between people can be solved, and that in the same way dispute between center and state can also be solved through the judiciary. And that is why we have said that Indian judiciary is independent. Why? Because it has to solve disputes between center and state also. It has to be independent. Then only it can take a non-biased decision. Okay. And even before independence, most of our national movement and leaders and national fighters, they were aware that India is such a huge country with such huge diversity, linguistic diversity, cultural diversity. And that is why it is very necessary to divide power between provinces and central government. We cannot give one person the authority to rule entire nation because we have so much diversities in India. भारत में ही कितनी diversities है, विभिन्नताएं हैं. तो एक लीडर तो उसको संभाल नहीं सकता ना, तो हमको डिवाइड करनी पड़ेंगी पावर्स. एंड दैट इज हाउ द फेडरल क्वासी फेडरल सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नेंस took place. So we have studied that Indian society has two kinds of diversities, regional and linguistic, language based. And both of these diversities needed recognition. That is why on the principles of unity and cooperation between center and states, and because of the principle of separation of powers, there was a quasi-federal system of governance in India. Understood? Clear हो गई यहाँ तक सभी को बात? And the most important feature of federal system adopted by Indian constitution is the principle that relations between states and center would be based on cooperation. So we do not just talk about unity, we also talk about cooperation. These are the two pillars of the federal system of Indian constitution. ये आपके दो pillars हो गए हमारे Indian constitution के federal system के. ठीक है कि हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में सेंटर स्टेट्स के बीच में यूनिटी और कोऑपरेशन तैयार की गई है, एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट ओनली दैट पावर हैज बीन डिवाइडेड. सो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बेसिकली फोकसेस ऑन यूनिटी एंड इट आल्सो रिकॉग्नाइजेस डाइवर्सिटी. There is diversity. Diversity means there are different kinds of religions, languages, etc. But still, based, over and above that diversity also, we are one. हम दिल से यूनाइटेड है हम सब. भले ही हमारी लैंग्वेज अलग होगी, हमारा कल्चर अलग होगा, हमारे रिचुअल्स अलग होंगे, हमारा तौर तरीका अलग होगा, बट हम सब एक हैं. एंड दैट fundamental principle is used while framing the quasi-federal system of Indian Constitution. So, Constitution of India does not even mention the word federation, but you can get the essence of federation through the Article 1 of Indian Constitution, wherein it says, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. That is the foundation principle of federation. भले ही हमारे संविधान में federation word mentioned ही नहीं है, but union of states बोलकर ये साबित कर दिया गया है कि हमारे पास फेडरल सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नेंस है जो हम अडॉप्ट करते हैं. स्टेट्स एंड टेरिटरीज thereof shall be as specified in the first schedule. Okay, so in division of powers we know two sets of governments have been created by Indian Constitution, one for the entire nation, another for state. The nationwide government is called central government. Currently it is BJP at the center, and then we have the state government. And both of these, both the central government and state government, have a constitutional status, that is equal respect is being given to both, and they have clearly identified areas of activities through the different lists that the constitution has. Union list, state list, concurrent list. Union list पे central government has the authority, state list पे state government has the authority, concurrent list पे both state and central governments have the authority. So they have clearly identified the area of activity also. And if there is any dispute, then Supreme Court steps in, and Supreme Court on the basis of constitutional provisions takes the final decision. So here you can see the demarcation of subjects between center and state. Union list में we have defense, atomic energy, foreign affairs, war and peace, banking, railways, post and telegraph, airways, ports, foreign trade, currency and coinage. State list में we have agriculture, police, prison, local government, public health, land, liquor, trade, commerce, livestock, animal husbandry, state public services. Normally only the state legislature can make laws on these matters, and concurrent list में both union and state legislature can make laws. For example, education, transfer of property other than the agricultural land, forest, trade union, adulteration, then adoption and succession. And please take a print of this particular page and stick it on your study table. Every morning go through these subjects, because in prelims there have been hundred of times that the question have been asked. They give the subjects and they ask you this subject lies in which list. Okay, so that is why to memorize this is very important. It's very easy. जो भी most important है आपके टॉपिक्स वो यूनियन लिस्ट में आ जाते हैं, जो सेकंड प्रायोरिटी पे आते हैं वो स्टेट लिस्ट में आ जाते हैं, और रेजिडुअल आपकी कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट में आते हैं जो कि इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं. तो यहाँ पर इसका एक प्रिंट निकाल कर आप अपने टेबल पे लगा लीजिए. नाउ इंक्लूड ऑल द मैटर्स, basically the over here the residuary powers which are in the concurrent list, they include all the matters. Okay, point clear हो गया. But यहाँ पर which are not mentioned in the union and state list, जो भी matters union और state list में mention नहीं है वो सब आपको concurrent list में मिलेगी. That is why the residuary list is also known as the concurrent list. Okay, point clear हो गया यहाँ तक सभी को. All right. Now when it comes to cyber laws, because the cyber attacks are there in news, cyber attacks news में रहते हैं, तो cyber laws की जब बात करते हैं, the union legislature alone has the power to legislate on such matters. That you have to remember. Another important point over here is that is a matter of issue between both the center and state. एक ऐसी important बात है जिसकी वजह से center और state के बीच में ना issue रहता ही है. That is the economic and financial powers are centralized in hands of central government by the constitution itself, and that is why the center when it asks for more funds, release of more funds from the state, from the when the state asks from the center कि भैया we need funds, so in that case the issue arises. Okay, states always have this complaint that center is not giving it the appropriate amount of funds, because the economic and financial powers are highly centralized in the hands of the central government. Now there are different kinds of provisions that help create a strong central government in India. भारत में भी ना central government का हाथ थोड़ा ज़्यादा powerful है. In India also central government's hand, central government has an upper hand. Why? Because there are some provisions regarding it. First provision is existence of state including its territorial integrity. It is in hands of the parliament. How? Because parliament is empowered to form a new state. It can separate territory, and form a new state. Okay, किसी भी state से एक territory को separate करके एक नया state बना सकती है parliament by uniting two or more states. It can form a state. It can also alter the boundary of any state or can also change the name of any state, and that gives the central government a strong upper hand. This is the first provision. So constitution basically provides safeguards also. ऐसा नहीं है कि central will blatantly use its power, but Constitution is providing safeguards to the state legislature also. ठीक है, by securing their boards, उनके भी say होता है whenever states have to be created or name has to be altered, even states permission is taken. Okay, state legislature की permission ली जाती है. So there are safeguards for the state government as well. Second provision is constitution has very powerful emergency provisions. It can turn our federal polity into a centralized system also whenever emergency is declared. Whenever presidential emergency, national emergency आप देखोगे, even in case of financial emergencies, the constitution basically gives strong powers in the hands of central government. जिससे ना it can turn federal nature of the constitution as well. During emergency, power becomes lawfully centralized. Okay, so the second is this provision which gives central government an very strong upper hand. Now third, not just in emergencies, even in normal circumstances also, central government has very effective financial powers and responsibilities, because we know the economic and financial powers are given strongly to the central government. So like items which are generating revenue, they are under the control of central government. यहाँ list में आप देखोगे वो सभी items जो revenue generate करती हैं वो किसके हाथों में है? Central government के हाथों में है. Okay, so India basically we can see an example also that India has adopted planning as an instrument of rapid economic progress. That is why we created the planning commission ना. इसीलिए तो हमने प्लानिंग कमीशन बनाया था, क्योंकि हम प्लानिंग बेसिकली everybody says that planning failing to plan is planning to fail. Right. So planning has been given a very important position. Planning has been used by central government also for rapid economic progress after independence. That is why we created the planning commission, and this planning led to considerable centralization of economic decision making with the help of planning commission, because this planning commission was appointed by the union government. Okay, and this planning commission, which was created by union government, it coordinates machinery that controls and supervises resource management of the states. So union government uses this power to give grants and loans to states, and many times states they often complain that center is not giving us enough funds. States कितनी बार complain करते हैं कि भाई center हमको funds नहीं दे रहे हैं. हर बार जब भी budget pass होता है, there states are always lamenting कि भाई this much fund we need and this much has been provided. States are often seen asking grants and loans from center. Okay, why? Because this power is at the discretion of union government. So the distribution of economic resource is basically in our polity considered lopsided. Okay, and it has led to discrimination also against the states if they are ruled by opposition parties. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में मान लो बीजेपी है, स्टेट में कांग्रेस है या आप है, तो आप देखोगे हमेशा इनके बीच में फाइट रहेगी, या तो फंड्स को लेकर या किसी टॉपिक को लेकर. ओके, व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लॉपसाइडेडनेस. Then the fourth important provision over here which gives central government an upper hand is that the governor has certain powers to recommend dismissal of state government and dissolution of assembly. And we know that governor basically is under the president, and president is appointed by सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट क्या करता है? प्रेसिडेंट को नॉमिनेशन अपनी तरफ से नॉमिनेशन देता है ना कि भाई इसको हम प्रेसिडेंट बनाना चाहते हैं. ठीक है, तो उस केस में प्रेसिडेंट बेसिकली एक नॉमिनल हेड है. रियल हेड इज द प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर. रियल एग्जीक्यूटिव, दिस इज द नॉमिनल एग्जीक्यूटिव. ओके, स्टेट सिंबल है ये, एंड इनके नीचे गवर्नर आ जाता है. तो बेसिकली गवर्नर हैज सर्टेन पावर्स टू रिकमेंड एंड the dismissal of state government or dissolution of assembly. So even in normal cases now, governor has the power to reserve a bill which is passed by state legislature for the president, and then president, which is under over here, which is basically aided and advised by the council of ministers, then he takes appropriate decision as per the aid and advice of the council of minister. तो यहाँ पर ना central government has gains the upper hand. यह central government का ना upper hand हो जाता है, because council of minister की aid and advice से president फैसले लेगा, और जो president लेगा वो governor को मानना पड़ेगा. तो state legislature का बिल जरूरी नहीं है कि हर बार ही पास हो. ठीक है, here also central government has an opportunity to delay the state legislation, okay, or completely ignore them or forbid them. Okay, that is veto them. तो यहाँ पर this provision also gives an upper hand to the central government. Then the next important provision which proves that central government has a little upper hand over the state governments. On certain occasions, central government needs to legislate on matters from state list. Okay, and that is possible. How? Now you will ask, ma'am, how central government can enter into the state list? Okay, the matters in the state list are for the state government to legislate on. But here it is possible if this move of central government is accepted and ratified by the Rajya Sabha. अगर राज्य सभा सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के इस मूव को सहमति देता है, तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट स्टेट लिस्ट के मैटर्स पे भी डिसीजन ले सकता है. So constitution basically it states that the executive power of center are superior to executive power of states. It is not saying directly that center has an upper hand, but it is hinting that yes, executive powers जो होते हैं state central government के, वो state government से थोड़े superior ही हैं. Central government may also choose to give instructions to the state government. Okay, so here we will see this particular article, Article 257. Executive power of every state shall be so exercised as not to impede or prejudice the exercise of executive power of union. This is slightly hinting towards this particular line. यहाँ पर इस लाइन की तरफ आपको हिंट मिल रहा होगा. आर्टिकल 257 सबसेक्शन 1 बोल रहा है कि स्टेट का जो एग्जीक्यूटिव पावर है वो इस तरीके से एक्सरसाइज करना होगा ताकि यूनियन का एग्जीक्यूटिव पावर जो है वो किसी भी तरीके से जियोपेडाइज ना हो या फिर किसी तरीके से डिस्टर्ब ना हो. ठीक है, एंड एग्जीक्यूटिव पावर ऑफ यूनियन शैल एक्सटेंड टू द गिविंग ऑफ such directions to a state as may appear to the government of India to be necessary. यानी कि यूनियन गवर्नमेंट अपनी एग्जीक्यूटिव पावर जो है वो इस तरीके से यूज करे ऑर्डर्स देने के लिए जो ऑर्डर्स या जो डायरेक्शंस नेसेसरी होंगे. ठीक है, यानी कि that means it gives the free hand to the central government that yes, you can can also give orders or directions to the state government, okay, if it's necessary. So here this statement can be, proven right using this particular article. Okay, so using this article you can still, manage to prove that yes, central government's, executive power is superior than the state government's executive power. Then we have article 33 and 34 to, which authorizes the parliament to protect persons in the service of union or state. That means if an IAS officer becoming a collector in a particular state, or an IPS officer is becoming a commissioner of police in particular state, then they will be under the control of central government, which means states cannot take any kind of disciplinary action against them. They cannot remove officers from service because they are directly, answerable to the central government, not the state government. इसीलिए जो आप IAS के एग्जाम के लिए तैयारी कर रहे हो, आप स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के अंडर नहीं आओगे, आप सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को रिपोर्ट करोगे डायरेक्टली. आपको डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन आपके अगेंस्ट लेने का या फिर आपको सर्विस से हटाने का राइट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास नहीं है. अगेन स्टेट सेंटर इज having an upper hand over here. Okay, so these are the points that prove that yes, there is a strong central government in India. Okay, now let us understand between the central and state relations, because these relations forms a part of federalism. यही relations तो federalism का part बन रहे हैं. ठीक है. Now without constitution a nation is just like a skeleton. Constitution के बिना nation एक तरीके से क्या है, सॉरी, यहाँ पर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के बेसिकली कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन गिव्स द स्केलेटन टू अ पर्टिकुलर नेशन. ठीक है, आपको हमारे नेशन का जो हड्डियों का ढांचा है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ही है. ओके, जस्ट लाइक योर बॉडी, यू कैन स्टैंड, यू कैन सिट, यू कैन वॉक बिकॉज यू हैव स्केलेटन, यू हैव बोन्स. ठीक है, आपका जो स्केलेटन है वही आपको चलने के लिए इजी बनाता है चीजें, वही आपको बिठवाता है, आप बैठ सकते हो, खड़े हो सकते हो. योर स्पाइन हेल्प्स यू टू सिट स्ट्रेट. सो सेम वे नेशन आल्सो हैज अ स्केलेटन कॉल्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. बट the flesh is also important, and that flesh and blood is basically the actual process of politics in a nation. This is a nation, this is a soul. ठीक है, Atman, which is a nation. Then this soul will get a skeleton called constitution. Okay, it will get a structure. Constitution will give it a structure, and then the actual process of politics, okay, it will give the flesh and blood to a particular nation. तो जैसे कि आप सोल हो, आपको हड्डी मिलती है, हड्डियों का ढांचा मिलता है, फिर आपके ऊपर मांस लगता है, ब्लड आपके शरीर में घूमता है, नसें बनती हैं, तो इससे आप एक फुल फ्लेजेड ह्यूमन बीइंग कहलाते हो. ठीक है, ऐसे ही एक नेशन जो है उसका जो हड्डियों का ढांचा है, जो उसका स्पाइन है, जो स्केलेटन है, वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, और एक्चुअल जो प्रोसेसेस होते हैं उसके जो पॉलिटी या गवर्नेंस होती है वो उसका फ्लेश एंड ब्लड है. Okay, and remember that in 1950s and 60s the foundation of federalism was laid down under the governance of Jawaharlal Nehru ji. Jawaharlal Nehru ji के पंडित नेहरू जी के आप बोल सकते हो नेतृत्व में, उनके अंडर ही ये फेडरलिज्म का फाउंडेशन इंडिया में स्टैब्लिश किया गया. But since 1990s, before 1990s we had one party dominating the politics, that is the Congress. 1990 से पहले Congress was dominating, but since 1990 the dominance of Congress has largely ended, and that has resulted into a very fresh era of federalism when we saw coalition parties, new parties coming up. Then we saw the AAP government also came up. There have been so many new parties that have came up, so many coalition parties. इवन कांग्रेस भी जब ब्रेकअप थोड़ा सा हुआ, उसका भी एक अलग से पार्टीज बनी हुई है, उसके मेंबर्स भी वहां से हटकर अपनी कोalition गठबंधन बनाया है. इवन कांग्रेस मेक्स कोalitions with other parties. Okay, that has resulted into a very mature age of federalism. When we are not dominating in politics, we are ready to become a part of other groups also. Okay, that is, you can say, that second phase of federalism that has started rising up, that you have to remember. Now let us understand the role of governors and the president's rule, because they are also in controversy. In Indian federalism, we have a controversy related to the upper hand given to the central government. Then second is the role of governors and the president's rule. There have been, the role of governors especially has been controversial issue between both the state and the central government, because we know that governor is not an elected office holder. Okay, governor are appointed by the president. ये elected office holder नहीं होते हैं. And then any bill that the state legislature passes, that governor has the power to reserve it for the permission of the president. In that case, it results into delays, and that is why it becomes a very controversial point of issue between state and central government. For example, Bengal, अभी बंगाल में recently there was a dispute. Okay, for example, बिहार. तो ये states में ना issue बन जाता है governor के role को लेकर, because many governors they are not directly elected by people. They are either retired military officers or they are retired civil servants or politicians, which are often appointed by the central government, and that is why the actions of the governor, they are often viewed as the interference by the central government on the functioning of state government. बिकॉज गवर्नर्स को सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट अपॉइंट करता है, और गवर्नर या तो रिटायर्ड मिलिट्री ऑफिसर होते हैं या सिविल सर्वेंट्स होते हैं, तो वो जो भी एक्शन लेना स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को लगता है कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इनके थ्रू हमारे लेजिस्लेशन में इंटरफेयर कर रहे हैं. ओके, एंड व्हेन टू डिफरेंट पार्टीज आर एट पावर एट सेंटर एंड स्टेट, देन द डिस्प्यूट बिकम्स हायर. जब सेंटर में अलग पार्टी है, स्टेट में अलग पार्टी है, तब तो वही लड़ाई बढ़ ही जाती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप देखोगे बिटवीन दिल्ली एंड गवर्नमेंट एंड द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, आपके बीच में और अभी बीजेपी के बीच में जो फाइट चल रही है, बीच में एलजेपी आ जाता है, ठीक है, उसको लेके भी काफी फाइट होती है. सो दीज आर द इश्यूज दैट आर बिकमिंग मोर एंड मोर कंट्रोवर्शियल. सरकारिया कमीशन, however, which was appointed by central government in 1983, it submitted its report in 1988. Why it was appointed? To examine the issues, the disputes related to center and state relations. And Sarkaria Commission recommended that appointments of governors should be strictly non-partisan. What do you mean by non-partisan? Non-partisan means non-biased. So Sarkaria Commission, this is very important for your GS paper 2. This is very important for your mains answer writing. You can give conclusions based on Sarkaria Commission report also. So it was appointed by central government and it recommended that जितने भी governors को appoint किया जाता है वो strictly non-biased होने चाहिए, ना वो center की तरफ ना वो state की तरफ. Okay, and there is one more controversy, that is Article 356, President's rule in any state. This provision, it is to be applied when a situation has arisen in which government of state cannot be carried on, following the constitutions or provisions of the constitution. ये जो रूल है आपका, ये आर्टिकल जो है, इसके तहत किसी भी स्टेट में प्रेसिडेंट का रूल तब लगाया जाता है जब ये देखा जाता है कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट जो है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के प्रोविजन के हिसाब से नहीं चल रही. एंड समटाइम्स इट इज कंटेंटेड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट दैट सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट यूजेस दिस आर्टिकल फॉर देयर ओन बेनिफिट. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का कभी कभी ये भी इशू होता है कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इस आर्टिकल को अपने बेनिफिट के लिए यूज कर रही है. Okay, so these are the two controversial points between the center and state relations. Now let us understand the federal features of the Constitution of India. These are very important. These are the major federal features that we are going to study, and these can be asked in your GS paper 2 as well, even in your PubAd optional and PSIR optional paper. So when we talk about first feature, that is dual polity, in the starting of the lecture we studied it. हमने lecture की starting में पढ़ा था ना. Before we move ahead, there is a small announcement for all of you. As you know that the discount offer of Unacademy on all its subscriptions, it has been extended till 31st July 11:59 PM. तो Unacademy Plus का discount offer चल रहा था जहाँ पर आप 53% तक सेव कर सकते हो सब्सक्रिप्शन पर. इस ऑफर को अब एक्सटेंड कर दिया गया है 31 जुलाई तक, यानी कि कल रात 11:59 PM तक. So if you are really interested in this discount offer, do subscribe today. Use this code ARPITA10. The links of all these batches are given below in the description box. You can click on them and subscribe today. We are also launching new optional carnival and new batches have already started from 28th July. So make sure that you take your subscription and be a part of this offer. So first आपका dual polity, wherein we have this government at both the central and the state level. Okay, then written constitution. Why there is a benefit of written constitution in a nation? Because then everything is written. Okay, if there is something that is oral, it can be negated also. People can move away from their promises, but we have a written constitution. That means कि we have a constitution that specifies everything, the powers, the functions, the structure, the organization, and that too at both center and state level. Okay, that means both the center and state, they have their prescribed limits in which they have to operate. So that is why there should be no misunderstandings between them. And even when there are disagreements or misunderstandings, it can be solved through the judiciary. जुडिशरी के थ्रू ही सॉल्व किया जा सकता है, ठीक है। एंड जुडिशरी विल आल्सो टेक डिसीजंस एज पर द प्रोविजंस ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इटसेल्फ. Then we have division of powers. Specifically, Constitution has divided powers between center and state through the union list, state list, and the concurrent list, which is in the 7th schedule. Now, question on 7th schedule was asked in 2018 or 19 ka prelims ka question paper. Okay, 7th schedule talks about the different list. Okay, different subjects and different lists that you have to remember. Then we have supremacy of constitution. That means constitution is above everything. Constitution is the supreme law of land. It is enacted by this, particular law is enacted by center and states, and center and states must conform to its provisions as well. Okay, so there are different organs of government: judiciary, executive, legislature, and all of them have their separate jurisdiction defined by the constitution itself. Okay, so constitution is over and above everything. And then we have an independent judiciary. That means that judiciary which will not be biased, which can issue any dispute or resolve any problem between both the center and state. Okay, so federalism in India, basically the summary is that we have two kinds of government, unitary and federal, on the basis of the relation between national government and regional government, that is the state government. Then we studied that unitary government is one which has all the powers, and that those powers are vested only with the national government. Okay, and the state government also, but their authority comes from the national government. Unitary government means power is divided between national government and state government, but those powers, they get validity and authority from the national government. For example, China, for example, Japan, for example, France, Britain. पावर तो डिवाइडेड है, बट अथॉरिटी कहां से मिल रही है? नेशनल गवर्नमेंट से ही मिल रही है. Then federal government means example can be USA, okay, Australia, Canada, Russia, in which powers are divided between national and state government by constitution itself. And both the state and the national government have their own authority and jurisdictions in which they have to, operate independently. But India's constitution is kind of a quasi-federal constitution. Federal government. Why quasi-federal? Because यहाँ पर we have a slight upper hand to the central government. We have a dual polity जहाँ पर center and state both exist, but certain areas are there where central government has an upper hand. For example, the financial and economic areas or spheres. Or for example, you can give the example of Article of Indian Constitution, which prescribes that Parliament has the power to amend the territory of the state or change the name of the states. In certain areas, central government has a slight upper hand. Okay. So constitution provisions में हमने क्या पढ़ा था? That Constitution of India, that is the federal system of government, due to two main reasons why: large size of country and because of social cultural diversity. इंडिया का constitution federal system of government को support करता है. क्यों? क्योंकि इंडिया एक तो बहुत बड़ा population आप देखोगे बहुत बड़ी है, population is very huge. Second, diversity is very huge. Okay. So the federal system which exists in India, it recognizes both unity and cooperation and diversity among the different states. Okay, and we have studied that the term federation is not mentioned in the constitution, but it is indirectly mentioned in Article 1, which says India, which is Bharat, is a union of states. It indicates two things. First, Indian Federation is not the result of an agreement among the states like the American Federation. This is why Indian Federation is different from American Federation. Okay, it is a union of states. ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई कोई agreement हुआ है state के बीच में और India as a national government के बीच में. And states have no right to secede from federation. States का कोई हक नहीं है कि वो इस federation से अपने आप को अलग कर सके. That means Federation of India is indestructible. Okay, Indian Federation means holding together federation. Indian Federation एक तरीके का holding together federation है. It holds everything together. American Federation is coming together federation. That means there is agreement that yes, okay, we'll come together with you. Okay, some other day if they want to exist, they can, cancel the agreement as well if they want to exit. But this is not the case in Indian Federation. Okay, Indian Federation resembles the Canadian model, not the American model, because of its formation. Okay, because we use the term union, because Canadian Federation also uses the term union. Okay, because of the centralizing tendency, because central government has an upper hand. Alright, now let us understand the difference between federal system and unitary system. देखो, federal system ना has dual government. That means power is divided between two types of government, national government and regional government. Unitary system basically it's a single government system. Why? Because I told you power is given to national and state government, but the authority comes from national government. So basically there is a single government which is at power. Okay? Federal system has a written constitution. Unitary system has both written as well as unwritten constitution. For example, France and Britain. Federal system has division of power between national and regional government. But because I told you here, national government has all the authority to validate and authenticate those powers. That is why there is no division of power. Then there is supremacy of constitution in federal system. But here in unitary system, just like Britain, constitution may not be supreme. Federal system में we have a rigid constitution. Okay, it is fixed. The limitations of the state, the limitation of exercising of power to the center, all of these are limited. But unitary system has both rigid or flexible constitution. Now, federal system has independent judiciary, but here unitary system है because there is a kind of single government, judiciary may or may not be independent. In federal system, we have bicameral legislature, but unitary system में it can have bicameral also or unicameral legislature also. So this is the basic difference between federal system and unitary system. Now let's come on to the homework that you have to practice after this lecture. First question, central and state governments both derive their authority from constitution, correct? And Indian constitution provides for a federal system with a unitary bias. Now you have to explain it. So here unitary bias के साथ यहाँ पर Indian constitution federal system तो provide करता है, but unitary bias के साथ I told you about central government having an upper hand. थोड़े से इसके executive powers are superior than the executive power of the state government. That you have to explain. So first you will explain what is a federal government, what is a unitary system of government. You will explain the characteristics of both. Then you will explain the provisions that proves how the central government has an upper hand in the execution of the constitution. I gave you so many examples. Over here, page number 87 पे देखो, important provisions that create a strong central government. Okay, so we discussed 7 provisions that gives an upper hand to the central government. That you have to explain in this question. 15 marks का ये question है आपका, ठीक है? That means 3 pages के अंदर आपका आंसर आ जाना चाहिए. 3 pages से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, कम हो सकता है. Second question, explain federalism. Basic definition आपको explain करनी है, giving examples. Always remember, whenever they are asking you to explain something, support it with examples, because then only your answer will be creative, or else it will be just like you are copying things from the book. Okay, so support your answers with examples, and wherever you can. That gives variety to your answer. Third question, what is the difference between federal and unitary system? 10 marks का है, ये हमने discuss किया है यहाँ पर. With examples you can explain all of these differences. So very easy, बहुत easy है ये homework आज का आपका 35 marks का. इसको solve कीजिएगा. Alright, so I hope you understood in detail about the federalism, federal system of government, and also why central government is having an upper hand in the quasi federalism system of government in India.